Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another gay gamer video podcast. We have a lot to cover this week because I didn't do an episode last week because it was the 4th of July holiday and I was off visiting family. So we have a lot to cover. We are going to kick it off with my thoughts on the newly released SpiderMan Homecoming, which I thought was an absolute delight. Hence the t-shirt, which I've already worn before. I got some new Animal Crossing t-shirts at Nintendo World. I'll wear those in upcoming episodes, but I wanted to wear this for Spider-Man because that's Spider-Man. Weirdly, this is the only Spider-Man t-shirt I apparently own. I was like, going to the movie and I was like, I don't have a Spider-Man t-shirt. My husband has like 5 or 6, and for whatever reason I have like 5 or 6 Captain America ones, even though I'm not that big of a Captain America fan, but I have no Spider-Man. Although, I have this one that has Spider-Man on it, and I also have my Spider-Man underwear, so I can wear that. The movie's great. It's so much fun, and I think it's great that Marvel is playing with Sony to let Spider-Man be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He obviously made his appearance in Civil War, and there's a lot of the Marvel Universe in Spider-Man Homecoming. There's actually, I think, maybe a little too much. There's lots of mentions of the Avengers and everything, and Thor and Hulk and Iron Man. And I kind of wish that maybe Iron Man wasn't in it quite as much as he was. Because it also, his suit does way too much, and Spider-Man starts to become like Iron Man with his fancy suit. And I mean, it's the point of the movie is that, no spoiler alert, the theme of the movie is learning to be a hero without relying on the suit, much like Iron Man did. So that's the point of the film, but he does spend a lot of time in his Iron Man suit. It's not an Iron Man suit, obviously, it's a Spider-Man suit, but it's made by Tony Stark, so it's got all the electronic doodads in it, and all these extra things, and it's too much, you know? I want Spider-Man. He's not supposed to be that technologically advanced. He's not supposed to have a fancy suit like that. That was my one real sticking point, was the suit. It was too much like an Iron Man suit. But overall, it's a lot of fun, thoroughly enjoyable, and Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. Sorry, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, but he's way better. So if you like Spider-Man, check it out. It's awesome. And then onto gaming. I was super excited to take my trip to visit family in Massachusetts because I was going to have my Switch. And because I remember many years ago playing a Zelda game on the bus, and I feel like it was on my GBA. Like, I feel like it was that long ago, and just like getting so immersed in the game, and then looking up and suddenly being like, oh my god, we're in Manhattan, about to turn into 42nd Street, Port Authority, so yay, the trip went by like that. You know, like when you fall asleep and you wake up and suddenly you're there. It's like that, but without the falling asleep part. Because when you're watching a movie or reading a book, you're just easily distracted by like what's out the window, and you notice, oh, we're not moving, we're stuck in traffic, whatever. But when you're playing a game, you're less easily distracted, especially when it's something immersive like an open-world Zelda game. So I was super excited to be able to play that and just lose myself in Hyrule and just explore and do all these side quests that, you know, I still hadn't done. And the trip went by really quickly, even with the hideous 4th of July traffic that added at least an hour to an hour and a half to each trip. Yay. But it's great, and I made a lot of progress with it. I did a bunch of side quests, and then I didn't play it while I was on vacation, because I was with my family, and we're like down at the lake, and I was in the water for most of the day, and you know, I'm not going to like play Switch in the water, that's just dangerous and asking for trouble. So I only played it on the bus. So I didn't make as much progress as I thought I was going to make. Like, in my mind, I was going to, like, wrap up a bunch of side quests, and then when I got back home, I was going to play the end of the game and defeat Ganon and call it a day. Because Splatoon 2 is about to come out, and that's the first Switch game that I actually would like to buy. Because Mario Kart, I don't like racers. ARMS, don't like fighters. But Splatoon, I actually enjoyed on my Wii U. So, and I did play a surprising amount of multiplayer. So, I'm thinking I would like to get Splatoon 2 for my Switch. So I'm feeling like I should go and defeat Ganon just so that I feel that sense of completion, and I can still go and do side quests, because the game will reset to just before you've gone to fight Ganon, because that's what all games do. I don't know why. It's one of those things about video games I will never understand, and I do not like, because occasionally there's a reason, story reason, why the world is the way it is, because there's a villain. But more often than not, like, you could defeat Ganon, and there can still be enemies roaming around Hyrule that you can just explore and defeat and do whatever, and Ganon can just be dead, and everybody can be happy. It's not like defeating Ganon makes all the enemies disappear. It doesn't have to. I mean, it could. But, you know, whatever. But I feel like if I at least go and defeat Ganon, then I can feel that sense of completion. Just because, you know, I have been playing this game and loving it and just doing all these side things, figuring I'll eventually get to Ganon. And I kind of almost don't even feel like I need to fight Ganon. I've enjoyed the game and will continue to enjoy the game, but, you know, I sort of feel like I should probably, you know, wrap it up. And then go back and do more stuff. Because there is the DLC, which I didn't want the first DLC, I only wanted the second DLC, but apparently it's $20 and you have to get both. And I'm like, why couldn't I just get the second one for $10, you know? Because I don't want the first one. I mean, there's some stuff in the first one, like some costumes and outfits and whatever that might be cute, but, like, I don't care about the Trials of the Sword or whatever it's called. I don't want combat trials. I'm only going to get, like, 5 or 6 levels in, and then that's it. You know? Like, that's not interesting to me, just waves and waves of combat. I want, like, side quests with story and enemies and something interesting, which is the second one that's coming out, like, in the fall. But you have to get them both, so I guess I'll do that. But I feel like I should beat Ganon so that I can feel a sense of completion before buying and starting a new game. Even though, obviously, I'll be playing Splatoon, and I'll be playing Zelda as well, just for fun, because it's awesome, and there's more to do. Also, I feel like I would play Zelda on the go, as opposed to at home, where I would be playing Splatoon, because I would have Wi-Fi so I can do multiplayer. Although I could probably be playing single-player Splatoon, if it's any good, on my commute. Who knows? I have been avoiding Ganon because I'm afraid, but some of the stuff that I've done recently in Zelda has made me less afraid. There was the Forgotten Temple, where a friend of mine said, oh, I just floated through the whole place, landed and went in the shrine, and avoided all those guardians. And I'm just like, oh, I actually, you know, shield deflected their laser blasts and destroyed every single one of them. And I feel like now I'm more confident about blasting them back with their own lasers, which takes them out usually in one hit, which is super awesome. So now I'm less concerned with approaching Hyrule Castle with all those guardians. I've been avoiding it, but now I'm like, nah, it's not so bad. I am not as scared of guardians. And then I was exploring, like, the southeast corner of the map where I realized I'd never gone, and there were, like, some islands over on the side that I never explored, so I'm like, let me go over there and check it out. And I found a Lionel, and I'm like, oh, damn it. But I said, you know what, let me just save my game and give it a try. I was curious. I've never fought a Lionel before, I've always avoided them, they scare me. So, because the first one that you fight in the beginning, in the Zora domain, it's, like, super hard, because you're doing it really early in the game, so it's like, he will wipe the floor with you. So that just made me scared of Lionels for the whole game. But I said, let me try it. And it was not that bad. I kicked its butt. I just kept using stasis to freeze it, and then I'd wail on it with some weapons, and he went down. He tried to use some kind of electrical attack, but I stasised him and froze him and beat on him, and that kind of negated that attack. He did breathe some flame breath at me, which was surprising. Didn't know they could do that. But he went down, and I looked him up, and it turns out that was the kind of Lionel, that was actually the strongest kind of Lionel there is, with the most hit points, and he drops the best weapons. And I'm like, if I can defeat the most powerful Lionel, I can do all the other ones, no problem. And maybe I can defeat Ganon. And then I can feel as though I've completed the game. Much like with Horizon Zero Dawn, there I did all the side quests and felt like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. I'm not going to do the Hunter's Lodge ones, so I've done everything I can do. Let me just do the final end game and beat the boss and finish this game. And again, that game also boots you back to just before the final battle, and you can then wrap up whatever you'd like to do if you want to explore some more and do stuff. So just like with Zelda, I'm like, then I would at least feel the completion of, I've beaten the game, and then I would still go back to do the extra stuff, because there's still stuff I haven't found. I have not found all of the Korok Seeds or Shrines, and that's okay. Not going to really go for the Korok Seeds, but the Shrines I would like to see if I can find them all. I think I'm closing in on 100 now, so that's impressive. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. The thing is that I want to make sure that if I'm going to battle Ganon, I want to do that on my TV at home with the Pro Controller, so I have a big screen and I can see what's going on, and I have the Pro Controller in my hand for better controls. I don't want to try to do that on the tablet screen. It's like when I was in the Forbidden Temple and I was having to deflect their laser blast. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I was like, I'm going to pause this right now, and I'm going to do this at home on the big screen where I can do it a little easier. And the Lionel I also fought at home. But, you know, I want to fight Ganon at home where it might be a little easier. And it would be just more impressive to have it on the TV screen for the final battle and then the end cutscene. But it's hard because I still want to use my Switch as my portable gaming system and play like PlayStation and Xbox at home. But Splatoon 2, like I said, I will be playing at home because that's where I have my Wi-Fi that I can play the multiplayer with. So PlayStation might be getting a little stepped on, which means I don't know when I'm going to start Life is Strange, because you might recall in the last episode, I had downloaded Life is Strange for free on PlayStation Plus, but had not played it because I was playing some No Man's Sky. But just as I was about to start Life is Strange, Sony had to go and have a frickin' Flash Sale on the PlayStation Network, and there were a couple of games there that I had been interested in. You know, those indie games that you don't really want to spend $20 on, so you wait for these flash sales. And I bought Submerged for $2. And, because I'd always wanted to play it. It looked kind of pretty. And I just like the idea that it's like an exploration game, and there's no combat, you can't really die, and you're just exploring this post-apocalyptic, submerged cityscape. Although there are there's like these weird mutants I've seen a couple times, but I don't think I'm going to have to fight them, because there doesn't seem to be controls for combat. So I'm hoping that it's not like this relaxing exploration game, and then at the very end it's like, okay, now you have to fight, because that would be really shitty. But I don't think there is, because there's no controls for fighting, so I think it's just part of the story. And maybe they look scary, but they're not. Twist, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm enjoying it. It's a lovely world. I'm enjoying exploring and finding all the secret things. And it has a photo mode. Love a good photo mode. The other game that I bought was Adrift. That was $3. And of course, these games that I have now bought for $2 to $3 will probably be free on PlayStation Plus in the next few months, because that's just the way my luck runs. Hopefully I will be able to play Adrift before it becomes free, because that would be super frustrating. If I bought it for $3 and then didn't get around to playing it, and then suddenly it was free, and I'm like, well, I could have saved $3 and just bought it for free. But I just like the idea, first-person adventure game where you're in a space station floating around and you're floating out over the Earth and stuff, and that's really cool. I do kind of wish that it had a VR mode, because I think that in VR would be, like, amazing. But I did also buy a VR game as well. They had Until Dawn Rush of Blood was on sale for like $7.99, and I'm like, for $8, I'll get it. It's an on-rails shooter, so it's sort of like whatever. Like, there's not like a whole lot of replayability to it, but it's you know, it's a fun VR game. I haven't tried it yet because it hasn't actually finished downloading yet, but like, for $8, I figure I'll get $8 of enjoyment out of, like, riding the rails and shooting at stuff and having things jump at me and screaming and whatever. That could be fun. So, yeah. And then there's still Life is Strange, which I will play one day, eventually. We'll see. Okay, so that was the last couple of weeks in my gaming world. And I haven't even talked about the other things that I have been interested in and following, like in the gaming news. This is just what I've been playing. So come back next time, and I'll talk about some other stuff, and maybe I'll have tried my new PlayStation games, maybe I'll have started Life is Strange, maybe I'll have beat Ganon. Who knows? Come back next time and find out. See you then. Bye!